There are guns in forefront, there are tanks in forefront, there are rockets, talons, snipers, C4 goblins, and that one guy lying in a bush thinking he's invisible. Yeah, I'm a motherfucker bush! But if you ask me what the real skill gap is in this game, it's this. Helicopters. Because the second you leave the ground in forefront, you're not playing the same game anymore. You're playing above it. You're tracking infantry and trying not to turn your beautiful military aircraft into a flaming $40 million lawn dart. Helicopters are not just vehicles, they are the end game. They are the thing that separates a normal player from a terrifying battlefield menace. And today, we're going through all three of them. The transport, the Apache, and the Little Bird.
Oh shit,
I got him! With an RPG, see you later, Talon! In my last video, I talked about how Forefront has cracked something really important. Mastery. The grind matters. The unlocks matter. The progression matters. But the biggest carrot in the whole game isn't a weapon. It's learning how to fly. Because helicopters are one of the few things in Forefront where you can't fake it. You can fake being useful with a rifle, just shoot in the general direction of the enemy and look busy. You can fake being useful with a sniper by lying on a hill and emotionally supporting the objective from 400 meters away. But in a helicopter, everyone knows immediately. Your team knows. The enemy knows. And within about 12 seconds, that mountain also knows. But once you start to understand them, helicopters completely change the way a match feels. You're no longer just fighting over one objective. You're now controlling pressure. You're forcing enemies to look up, you're making them waste their talons. You're creating space for your team. You're wiping out squads before they even get comfortable. And when you have a pilot and gunner working together properly, it honestly feels disgusting. In a good way, a very legal, very tactical, but very forefront kind of disgusting.
I suck.
Now let's start with the transport, because this is easily my strongest helicopter right now. This thing is an absolute menace when it's used properly, and I don't think people respect it enough. Most people look at the transport and think, oh, that's just the team taxi. Wrong. This is a flying spawn point with a side-mounted hate cannon.
Oh my god! Look at the score! 50, you know, holy.
In there, This is LOL XR, absolutely farming from the gunner seat. 50 kills, 0 deaths. And yes, he's cracked, absolutely, but that doesn't happen just because your gunner can aim. That happens because the helicopter is being kept alive, the gunner is being given clean shooting windows, and the pilot understands that their job isn't to show off. Their job is to create the perfect angle.
Oh my god.
Rule number 1 for transport. Your gunner must be an engineer if you want maximum efficiency. Minimum. Because without an engineer on board, the helicopter is a ticking time bomb with no one to defuse it. You might survive the first Talon. You might even survive the second. You might even get lucky and limp away smoking like an absolute drama queen. But eventually, without repairs, you are done. That transport is strongest when it stays in the air for a long time. That is where it becomes oppressive. That is where the enemy starts getting pissed off. And that is where they start wasting time looking up instead of pushing objectives. But you only get that kind of uptime if you have an engineer repairing damage and keeping the bird alive. No engineer means no long-term pressure. Sorry, boys.
Doggo.
I'm in the middle of
Doggo
I know,
camp.
buddy, I know.
Right,
Reps, guys, reps.
Rule
Rule number 2, fly sideways. Always. This is the biggest thing I see transport pilots get wrong. They fly straight at the enemy. They straight over the enemy. They spin around like they're trying to unlock a secret Mario Kart drift bonus. Stop doing that. Your gunner is on the side, so face the side of the helicopter toward the enemy and keep your distance, don't get too close. But that is the whole game. You want your gunner to have the longest shooting window possible, while also staying far enough away that the return fire is harder for them to land. The transport's not about diving directly into danger. It's about orbiting the fight. It's about giving your gunner time to acquire targets, time to track movement, time to actually hit what they're shooting at. And this is where your flying style matters.
Copy RPG. LOL's firing RPGs at us.
Now, when your gunner is shooting, your movement needs to be graceful. Nice, easy banks. Slight angled turns, smooth adjustments. No sudden jerks, no panicked flicks, no random dives unless you absolutely need to. Because every time you make a sudden movement, your gunner has to fight you just to aim. They are already dealing with the turret movement. They are already scanning the ground. They're already trying to understand where they're looking, which can be weirdly disorienting from that seat. So if you're throwing the helicopter around like a shopping trolley with a broken wheel, you're not helping. You're making their job impossible. The best transport pilot and gunner teams almost feel like one player. The pilot sets the angle, the gunner deletes the enemy. That is the rhythm. You fly as one. Got him? Now, this is the part some pilots don't want to hear. Your job is not to get the gunner kills at all costs. Your job is to keep the helicopter alive. That is priority number one. Then, when it is safe, you let the gunner do their job. If you reverse those priorities, you die. If you get greedy, you die. If you hover too long because the gunner is yelling, wait, I've got 3 here, you die. And then nobody gets kills because everyone is now a burning pile of regret. So when the pressure comes in, disengage hard. Break line of sight. Get behind a mountain, a building. Get some distance. Let your engineer repair. Then re-enter the fight from a smarter angle. Good pilots are not the ones who stay in danger forever. Good pilots are the ones who know exactly when the danger has stopped being worth it. And finally, call-outs. This is absolutely vital. If you want to instantly make an amateur gunner better, give them clear call-outs.
Get that guy on the ground, man. He's shooting at you. Yep, beautiful.
The turret can be disorienting. The helicopter is moving, the ground is moving, the pilot is banking. Enemies are tiny little ants with guns. So the pilot needs to become the gunner's eyes. Short, clear voice signals. 2 enemies on the road. On cliff. Coming up on the mountain below us. AA tank by the rocks. Keep it short. Keep it useful. Don't give your gunner a full David Attenborough documentary. Just tell them what matters. Where, what, how many. And when you do this, the gunner responds immediately. They stop searching, they start shooting. And that is when the transport turns from a flying taxi into a flying problem.
He's got him. Very, very tippity top.
Now, let's talk about the Apache. The Apache is a different beast. The transport is about teamwork and sustained pressure. The Apache is about controlled violence. It has rockets, it has a gunner seat, it has enough firepower to completely bully an objective if the crew knows what they're doing. But it also gets punished hard if the pilot flies like an idiot. And yes, I'm speaking from experience. The Apache is powerful, but it is not immortal. So we're going to split this into 2 parts, pilot and gunner.
Yeah, I got him.
As the Apache pilot, your most effective kill range is up high and far away. That is where a lot of people get it wrong. They treat the Apache like it needs to be right on top of the fight. It doesn't. Your rockets travel the entire map. Use that. You can sit extremely far away from threats and still rain absolute misery on the battlefield. If you can learn the travel time and the precision required, you can take out enemies from distances where they barely even understand what's happening. And this is especially important against AA tanks, pesky little AA rats. You don't want to casually float into their comfort zone. You want to identify them, line them up, and delete them from a distance. Precision barrage, not panic barrage, precision. Once the AA pressure is dealt with, then you can start leaning into infantry. But your first job is to remove the things that remove you. Good kill.
I'm getting off, I have no idea where from.
Let's talk about lock-ons. This rule applies to the Apache and we'll come back to it again with the Little Bird. If you get locked on, don't always instantly flare the first shot. Most of the time, you want to tank that first hit. Let them lock, let them fire, take the hit, find out where it came from. Then, when they lock again, flare the second one. After that, you either take them out or you disengage. But you do not just sit there and pretend that third one's going to be polite. It most certainly won't be. So the sequence is, tank the first, flare the second, disengage to repair. Get behind a mountain, a building, just get some distance. Break line of sight, reset the fight. Because again, your number one job as pilot is to stay alive. Kills are good, pressure is good, but none of that matters if you're dead.
Go to E.
Oh, I'm sniped. I got sniped out by Jay. Holy shit, Jay. What a shot. What a shot.
Apache's up there.
What a shot.
I was up till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Thanks for the hover. The Apache gunner is strongest when the helicopter is stable. That doesn't mean you should hover forever like a floating Christmas present, but it does mean that if you want your gunner to actually get work done, you need to stop constantly whipping the helicopter around. That's not helpful because his gun is tied to where you are moving. It's attached. If you bank away, his gun aim moves as well, and then he has to fight it. Medium to high range is beautiful for this. You can hover or sort of slowly drift, giving your gunner clean lines onto enemies below. So when you go in with rockets, bank away slowly so your gunner can finish the targets off. That's the secret. You soften them and the gunner finishes them. Or the gunner marks them with the damage and you finish them off with the rockets. Either way, you're working together. You're not two separate players having two separate fights. You are one flying weapon system. And when pilot and gunner shoot the same target at the same time, that enemy disappears very quickly.
Roger that. Good hit.
If you are the Apache gunner, listen very carefully. Your number one job is not getting kills. Your number one job is keeping the helicopter alive. I know, the gun is fun. The gun goes brr. The little soldiers run around below and your brain goes, yes, I would like to farm these. But as soon as the Apache takes damage, hands off the turret and start repairing. Always. That is not a suggestion. This is your sacred duty as the person sitting in the front seat. In a typical match with annoying AA pressure, your time should honestly be something like 50% repairing and 50% gunning, because a lot of the pilot's flight time is spent escaping. And if the helicopter is banking away behind a mountain, your turret is probably doing nothing useful anyway, so repair. Keep the bird alive. And when it's safe, hop back in and start taking out turrets again. Your second job as gunner is communication. Tell the pilot what you're shooting. Tell them if you got the kill. Tell them if there are multiple enemies. Tell them if there's an engineer staring at you with bad intentions. Because the Apache becomes terrifying when both seats are synced. The gunner has pressure, the pilot has burst damage. And when you combine those two things onto the same target, it's basically over. If you see 2 or 3 enemies camping a position, ask for a hover. Literally say it. Give me a hover, or hold this angle, or keep us here just for 2 seconds, because your gun is extremely effective when the helicopter is stationary or just gently drifting. But remember the golden rule. The second the Apache takes damage, stop shooting and repair. Even if there are targets in front of you, even if you're 1 second away from a kill, even if your little goblin brain desperately wants the dopamine, repair first. A live helicopter equals more kills later. Dead helicopter equals boots on the ground for the next 90 seconds.
Got him. Sorry, I didn't want to overheat.
Now we get to the spicy one, the little bird. This thing used to make me feel like I was trying to fly a caffeinated mosquito through a letterbox. I used to think it was hard as hell. And to be fair, it is. But now that the manual helicopter controls are in, I can safely say this. The new controls are basically mandatory if you want to be genuinely dangerous in the little bird. Take a look at this. This is what the little bird can become in the hands of someone who really knows what they're doing. This is not just flying around and hoping the bullets hit something. This is control. This is distance. This is movement. This is understanding that the little bird is not a hovering turret. It's a moving blade. And I'll be honest, I haven't had as much practice as I'd like because I try to keep my streams varied. So for some of these examples, I'll be showing footage of pilots who are way more practiced with manual controls than I am. But the lessons are clear. And once you understand them, the little bird starts making sense. The biggest mistake in the little bird is hovering above enemies. Don't do it. If you hover for any period of time, you are basically standing still in the sky wearing a sign that says, please shoot me in the face, and they will. Because unlike the Apache or transport, your biggest threat in the little bird is not always Talons. It's small arms fire. You are extremely vulnerable to being shot at by proficient enemies. A good player on the ground can absolutely ruin your day. So if you're pirouetting on top of them, spinning around, trying to line up a perfect little shot while barely moving, you're dead. You need constant movement, long horizontal movement, lateral movement, distance. You want to be hard to track. Not impossible to see, but hard to track. That's the difference. If they can see you but can't keep their gun on you, you win. If they can see you and you're hovering like a confused drone, they win. So the little bird is strongest when you respect distance. You want to strafe across the fight, not sit directly inside it. Long passes, horizontal movement, slow, controlled directions. You're trying to line up the enemy from the outside of the turn, not panic correct at the last second. The best way I can explain this is like putting in golf. When you putt, you want the ball to approach from the high side of the roll. That way, it always has a chance to fall in the hole. But if you overcorrect and the ball rolls on the lower side, it never had a chance. It just misses. Little bird aim feels the same. If you approach the target from the right side of your turn, you naturally glide into shot. The enemy moves into your line. Your bullets connect. Your time to kill gets tiny. Then you switch targets faster. But if you overcorrect, panic, and drag your aim across them from the wrong side, you're always chasing, you're always late, you're always missing by a fraction. And in the little bird, a fraction is the difference between farming and exploding.
Look at you, 50 kills and no deaths.
This is the phrase I keep coming back to with helicopters. Fly with grace. Not slowly as in lazy, slowly as in controlled, smooth, deliberate, graceful. The little bird is so twitchy that your instinct is to overcorrect instantly. You miss a target, so you yank it back. That's me in a nutshell. You start taking fire, so you panic and throw the whole aircraft around. But the more you do that, the worse your aim gets. The trick is to stay calm, that your movement creates the shots for you. You don't force the little bird onto the target. You guide it to the target. And once you start killing enemies from the outside of turns, everything changes. You stop feeling like you're chasing people and you start feeling like you're sweeping through them. That is when the little bird becomes terrifying.
So the AA just did double
Lock-ons.
rockets.
The same basic rule applies here as the Apache. Tank the first hit, flare the second, disengage. But with the little bird, you need to be even more careful because you don't have the same margin for error. If there are 1 or 2 engineers watching you, you can sometimes play around that pressure. But if there are 3 or more Talons coming out, respect it. Do not ego challenge 3 engineers who have collectively decided that you are the main character of their hatred, all right? Keep your distance. They're targeting you. They're waiting for you, specifically you. And sometimes the right play is not to force it. Back off. Wait for them to get distracted by objectives or infantry pressure. Just wait 30 odd seconds. Then come back when they've lost interest. That is not cowardice. That is survival. That is how you stay alive long enough to actually dominate the match. Now, if you have engineers in your own helicopter, it becomes a different story. If you've got multiple engineers repairing, countering the multiple engineers that have you in their sights, you can fly more aggressively. You can tank a bit more, you can take pressure and still keep fighting. But if you're alone and you don't have repairs, do not pretend you're invincible. You're not. You're a very angry glass mosquito. Respect the pressure.
Oh, I got sniped. What a shot, Eli. What a shot.
One last thing with the little bird, use altitude intelligently. If you're being locked, flying lower can help you break line of sight. Mountains, buildings, terrain, anything that blocks your lock is your friend. But if you're getting RPG'd or shredded by small arms fire, going higher can make you harder to hit. So don't just fly at one height for the entire match. Change based on what is actually threatening you. Lock-ons? Use cover, fly lower, break line of sight. Small arms? Get distance, get altitude, move laterally. RPG pressure. Don't fly in predictable straight lines like a polite little target drone. Your altitude is part of your defense. Use it.
Yeah, dude,
Whether you're flying the transport, the Apache, or the little bird, the core rules are actually pretty similar. Number 1, staying alive is the top priority. A dead helicopter does 0 damage. A living helicopter keeps creating pressure. Number 2, smooth movements beats flashy movement, hands down. You do not need to look like an action movie pilot every second. You need to give yourself and your gunner, if applicable, usable angles. Number 3, communicate. Call targets, call damage, call repairs, call when you're disengaging. The difference between a silent helicopter and a talking helicopter is massive. Number 4, respect engineers. Talons change the whole air game. If you ignore them, you die. If you respect them, bait them, flare them, break line of sight and repair properly. If you respect them, bait them, flare them, break line of sight and repair properly, you stay in the fight. And number 5, mastery takes time. You are going to crash. You're going to miss rockets. You're going to drift into a tree. You're going to accidentally deliver your entire squad directly into the side of the mountain and become one with the mountain. It happens. But every fight teaches you something. Every lock-on teaches you timing. Every bad angle teaches you positioning. Every gunner yelling at you teaches you patience. And eventually, something clicks. You stop reacting to the helicopter and you start controlling the battlefield with it. Now, flare. And that gives you the maximum time to get away. You see? Yeah. And this is why I think helicopters are so important for 4Front's future, because this is exactly the kind of mastery loop that keeps people playing. It's not just unlock gun, use gun, finish game. It's deeper than that. It's learning a role, learning a vehicle, learning teamwork, learning timing, learning how to read pressure, learning when to push and when to leave. That's the stuff that gives you game legs. That's the stuff that makes you say, one more match, because you know you're getting better. And helicopters do that beautifully. Cloudy, is that a birdie? That's your birdie bark, isn't it? It's just a pigeon, bro. Relax. Precious little Cloudy. He don't like birds. Okay. And helicopters do that beautifully. They are frustrating at first. They're awkward at first, and they can feel impossible sometimes. But then you start surviving longer. Then your gunner starts getting more kills, and you start dodging Talons, and you start actually taking out the AA. And then the enemy starts looking up, and that's when you know you've become the problem. A beautiful, airborne, team-supporting, objective pressuring problem. I'm pumping them. Quick recap. Transport. Bring an engineer, fly sideways, call targets, keep the movement smooth. And remember that your job is to keep the gunner alive long enough to ruin everyone else's day. Apache pilot. Use range, use rockets, delete threats from a distance, tank the first lock on, flare the second, and disengage to repair. And the gunner needs to repair first, shoot second. Communicate your targets, ask for a hover when you need it, and sync your damage with the pilot. Little bird, manual controls are the way. I know in one of my previous videos, I said I can't do them. I've changed my mind. Honestly, once you persist with them, they become the way. Keep moving, keep distance, avoid hovering, use graceful lateral movement, and respect small arms fire just as much as Talons. And for all of them, survival first, kills second, pressure always. And that's it. That's my helicopter mastery guide for 4Front VR. I hope this helped you in some way, whether you're trying to become a better pilot, a better gunner, or just trying to understand why the sky keeps randomly exploding above you. If you learned something today, hit that subscribe button. I am so close to 1,000 subscribers now, guys, and honestly, it would mean the world to me. This channel has been growing like crazy lately, and I really appreciate every single one of you watching, commenting, arguing with me, correcting me, and helping me build this little 4Front-oriented community. So thank you. Thanks for watching. My name's Max, but you can call me Cloud, and I'll see you in the skies above, eh? I need repairs. Yep.
It doesn't matter. There's 3 of us that can repair. We're good.
I see one below, one below, one below.
Hostiles are attacking Point B.
Uh-oh. Whoa.
Yep.
No! Everybody on reps, everybody on repairs! I need you to drop me off at B.
Oh, I see something. Oh my
Nice,
god, they do not want to
guys.
fly. Oh my god, they're so quick. They don't like us at all.